Hello friends, welcome to engineering tutorial. So in the previous video we started a new topic, which is the process control and instrumentation, and we discussed some basic concepts related to process control. So in order to understand this in a better way, apart from the definitions and the bookish things, let us try to understand it from a practical point of view. Okay, what process control exactly is. We also discussed the bottle filling example, but let us discuss some more examples in order to have a good idea of what process control exactly is. Okay, before doing that, just a quick look at the basic concepts. As I said, process control and instrumentation is an amalgamation of the four important fields of electrical and electronics engineering, which is sensors and transducers, measurement and instrumentation, machines, basically electrical machines, but it also sometimes takes into account the various mechanical instruments, be it hydraulic or pneumatic mechanisms, and control system. These four fields combined together form the process control and instrumentation. So process basically is a systematic series or course of action, okay, a number of operations performed in a simultaneous way or one after the another, producing a product. So different examples: energy generation, power transmission, manufacturing of products in the industry, packaging and distribution, food processing, etc. So this is the basic process control loop, where we have the process with the input and the output. The sensor measures the output, gives it to the controller, which is fed with the set point, which is the output which we want. Then, depending on the error or the difference between the actual output and the desired output, the controller issues a signal to the actuator, which controls the input variable. We have all discussed about what different types of input variables, such as manipulated variable, disturbances, output variable, that is controlled variable, and unmeasured output. We have all discussed it in the previous videos. I would recommend you to please watch the first video, the basic introductory concepts related to process control and instrumentation, before watching this video. Okay, only then you will be able to understand. So this is a basic block diagram of a process, where we have the input manipulated variable, which directly influences the output controlled variable. Okay, the manipulated variable is the variable through which we control the controlled variable, which is the variable which we want at the output. Disturbances are the unwanted input variables which affect the process and sometimes cause a fluctuation or deviation in the output. And sometimes a process produces various other byproducts, which are the unmeasured output, or which we don't want because we don't measure them. The outputs which we measure, which we want to control, that is the control variable. Okay, so now let us understand this with the help of some basic examples. So first, let us take a chemical reaction chamber, okay, to produce a particular chemical component. So let us say, to produce a certain amount of chemical at the output, two reactants are required. Let us call them reactant 1, that is R1, reactant 2, R2, and we want a product P at the output. So here inside this chamber, the parameter, the input parameter, which is desired to be, we control, that is the flow rate, okay, the volume of reactants flowing through this pipeline into the reaction chamber, that we are controlling with the help of this control valve. And the output which we want is the product, the chemical output, with a certain flow rate. Okay, that is called as the flow rate of the product. So here the flow rate of the reactants R1 and R2, that is the input manipulated variable. These flow rates are controlled with the help of these two control valves. Okay, opening and closing of these valves in different ways, in different positions, they control the flow rate of the reactants. So the flow rate of the reactants R1 and R2, they are the input manipulated variables. The control valves are the actuators. The flow rate are measured with the help of certain flow sensors, which I have not mentioned here, otherwise the diagram would have been very clumsy. So the flow rates are measured with the help of flow sensors. Okay. So the flow sensors, they send the signal to the controller adjusts the control valve. Similarly, the flow rate of the product, that is the controlled variable, the output controlled variable. Okay. So that is also measured with the help of a flow sensor. Now, if we include some other parameters as well here, let's say the temperature of the reactant, the pressure of the reactant, which have no contribution, which have no effect on the process outcome, but they unnecessarily become a part of the process. Temperature of the reactant and the product. Okay, sometimes sometimes the temperature and pressure, they affect the process output. You must have seen that in various industry manufacturing sectors, it has been specified, always specified, that the temperature of this thing should stay within this under this range, or the pressure should be in between these range. So that is all the specifications, because any fluctuations in temperature and pressure from the normal range can affect the quality of the product. So when these things, temperature and pressure, can affect the process output, but they are not controlled directly, they become disturbance variables. Here, if we include these two things, which we are not controlling, we are not controlling the temperature or pressure here for the reactants, both the reactants, so they become disturbance variables. Also, the temperature and pressure of the product, we don't want to measure it, we just want to we make sure that the product is available to us at a certain flow rate. Then the product flow rate is the control variable, and Tp and Pp, that is the temperature and pressure of the product, those are unmeasured outputs. We don't care what is the temperature and pressure of the product. If we want the product to be at a certain temperature or to be at a certain pressure, then they become control variable. But here we don't care what the temperature or pressure is, we just are concerned with the flow rate. So the flow rate is the control variable. Okay. So here the flow rate of the reactant, the first reactant, that is the first manipulated variable. The flow rate of the second reactant is the second manipulated variable, which is adjusted with the help of these two control valves, the actuators. And the flow rate of the product is the control variable, which depends on the flow rate of the reactants, the two reactants. Okay. And temperature of the reactants and pressure of the reactant 1 and 2, they are the disturbance variables, and Tp and Pp are the unmeasured outputs. Okay. Another example, let's say, is the patient monitoring system. It is a part of biomedical instrumentation. Now we know that in intensive care units or in general, the vital parameters of a patient, such as body temperature, blood pressure, blood flow rate, electrocardiogram signal, the heart, which gives us information about the heart activity, the electroencephalogram, the brain activity, electromyogram, they are generally measured. Suppose we have a monitoring system which monitors, let's say, we can measure any amount of parameters, any number of parameters, but here we are just measuring the EEG and the ECG signal. So the ECG and EEG signals are measured with the help of suitably placed electrodes on the body. Okay, they measure the ECG and EEG signal, and give the signal to the controller. Now to the controller, the set points are given, which is the safe range, okay, the safe range of ECG and EEG. Okay, the ECG and EEG should stay within a certain range, so that the we get the information that the patient is behaving in a normal way. Any fluctuation in the ECG and EEG signal above or below these lower and upper set points, the safe level, that will trigger an alarm. It can be in the form of a buzzer or blinking of a light or whatever. So this is a very simple example of a patient monitoring system. So here the ECG and EEG electrodes, which are used for measuring these signals, that is the sensor, and the output, the variable which is here, which we want to control, is to generate the alarm when the ECG or EEG signal crosses the safe level, the normal level, which is defined by the lower and upper set points to the controller. So whenever it goes above or below the normal or safe level, the controller triggers the alarm. So this is another example of a process control loop, which is used in real life application. So if we involve the internet here, it will become an IoT project. Okay, so that is a different discussion. So this is an example of a patient monitoring process control loop used in patient monitoring system. Let us take another example. Let's say the automatic lighting system. Now you must have seen in some of the street lights and also in some of the houses, automatic lighting systems are used. It means as the evening approaches, after a certain time duration, the lights are automatically turned on, and during the morning, when the morning approaches, when a certain time crosses, the lights are automatically turned off. So that is with the help of the applications of sensors and a suitable control mechanism. So a photodetector is used. It can be anything: a photovoltaic transducer, photoelectric transducer, photomultiplier tubes, photodiodes, anything. So it measures the sunlight, the intensity of the sunlight, and gives it to the microcontroller, and the microcontroller is fed with a suitable set point or intensity of light, above or below which the lighting system will be activated or deactivated. So during the evening, when the intensity of the sunlight drops, so when it drops below the set point defined for the activation of the lighting system, when it goes below it, the microcontroller issues a signal to activate the light, to turn the light on, lighting system on everywhere. During morning, when the intensity of light gradually increases with time, when it goes above the set point defined for turning the light off, then the microcontroller will issue a signal to turn the light off. So it can use switches or relays or anything, solenoid, it can be anything. Basically relays are used, electrical relays are used, so that becomes an actuator. Photodetector is the sensor, microcontroller is the controller here, and this is the set point, which is the intensity of light. So this is another example of a process control loop. So here I just wanted to make you understand what process control exactly is and how sensors and transducers, actuators, microcontrollers come into play in the whole picture. Okay, so here is the basic example. Photodetector measures the intensity of light, gives the output. The microcontroller is fed with a suitable set point for light for the turning on and off of the light. When the intensity crosses above or below the set point defined for turning the light on and off, the microcontroller activates or deactivates the lighting system with a suitable mechanism, be it a relay, solenoid, or any other electrical or mechanical mechanism which forms the actuator system. So this is the basic examples which we have discussed related to process control loop. So I hope you like this video, and please subscribe my channel Engineering Tutorial for more such videos related to electrical, electronics, instrumentation and communication engineering. Have a great day. Thank you very much.